What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Modern Mortgage Show, where I interview mortgage professionals who share their story and valuable information about the industry. I'm your host, Rocco, and my guest for the first show of the day is John Jurkovich, and he's the CEO at Brick Financial Group out of Oxford, Michigan. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you
coming on. So, John, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe give us a brief introduction of who you are?
Sure. So I've been in the mortgage business for 22, almost 23 years now. Started in the late 90s at a small little regional mortgage company called Rock Financial that was actually became Quicken Loans. So I was there for 13, 14 years. Did a variety of things. Was an originator back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Then was a vice president over there. Ran a bunch of stuff. Left there, moved out east, went and worked for a hedge fund, and oversaw operations for J.G. Wentworth for the Midwest mortgage origination up until just recently. They were acquired by Freedom Mortgage. I left and started my own brokerage here on January 1st was actually the first day that we were licensed, or January 2nd. We'll probably do $9-10 million this month, just a small little shop trying to take care of people, adding value to each and every customer, treating them like family.
That's awesome. So you said you've been in the industry almost 22, almost 23 years now?
Correct.
So how did you get your start in the industry again?
So it was really interesting. I have a degree in exercise physiology and was doing personal training and was looking for something new and wanted to go and sell pharmaceuticals. So I wanted to go and sell drugs. But I went, did the interviewing. They said, "Oh, everything looks great on your resume. You need sales experience." So one of my personal training clients happened to be in the mortgage business, offered me an opportunity to come and sell loans, said, "Do it for a year, get your experience, and then go off to your pharmaceutical sales job." Well, 22 years later, I'm still doing this, and pharmaceutical sales is something I haven't thought about in about 22 years. So it was just an opportunity to get in here, found I could make a six-figure income, did it after my first year, and I was kind of hooked, right? They got their claws in me, and I'm now a mortgage guy forever.
That's awesome. So what's up with personal trainers becoming loan officers? Because this is my 10th episode, and you're the third guy who's was a personal trainer and now is a loan officer.
Well, I think as a personal trainer, right, it's the barrier to entry, and I don't mean to dog on them, is just not that high, as is the mortgage business. And you typically need to have a gift for gab. So your ability to talk, communicate, educate people is how you get somebody to do training with you. First and foremost, you have to be likable. And I just think that it's a good transition. You're already in a sales field, and mortgages is just one of those things that kind of, it parlays there. Spent a lot of years doing ski instructing prior to that, and teaching people to ski is the same thing, right? You're getting them down a path. They're scared. They want to do things. They know that they need it, and you're kind of helping them down that path. And as you do so, you gain their trust, and it works well in sales.
So you've been an educator for a long time now.
I think since I was probably 13, 14 years old, been doing different things along the same lines.
So before you got into the industry, you taught skiing and you were a personal trainer. Is that all?
Correct.
Okay. And what was the main reason you got into the industry again? You said it was
I needed sales experience. So I wanted to go in and sell pharmaceuticals, and had interviewed with some of the big pharmaceutical companies, and they all told me that I needed sales experience. So I got into the mortgage industry purely, it was a stepping stone and was just a rung on the ladder to get to the next step of where I wanted to go. And just found out that this was a nice place to stay, and really learned a lot there, but had no intention of ever doing this long term.
Awesome. So you said you love to help people, educate people. What would you say is the most rewarding or satisfying thing about your job, the most fulfilling part of it?
I think that the most fulfilling, well, I've been in management as far as like helping people, employees, those kind of things. I bet I've probably hired well over 1,000 people in my career. So probably the most fulfilling is when you bring somebody in, maybe you hire somebody, you teach them the business, you help them actually improve their life. Their life's better, their kids' lives are better. So really my most rewarding thing for me is teaching somebody else about the business, bringing them in and helping them make it their 22 years or their life passion or what they now do as a career. So taking it from a job to a career. And then with the clients, it's always, you help out somebody that's going through a tough time. They're going through a divorce or dealing with something, a life circumstance, something that life threw at them, maybe that they didn't want. When you can help make that smooth, that's very rewarding as well.
Absolutely. So, shifting gears here, when you started 22 years ago, what would you say were your biggest struggles or obstacles that you faced early on in your journey?
I think that the biggest obstacle was probably myself, right? I have a degree in exercise physiology. I don't have a degree in finance. I don't have a master's degree. I didn't have any of those things. So probably my biggest obstacle was between my ears, in
Mm.
that you just didn't feel worthy of doing it. Or maybe, why would this client want to talk to me? I'm just this person. I don't have that knowledge base. So I think that my biggest obstacle was probably myself. And it took
Or
a
you're
while.
self-limiting yourself?
Yep.
Awesome. So, what did you do to fix that?
I think that early on I realized, right, I'm not the prettiest. You can see that. I'm not the smartest. I've got pretty bad dyslexia. Just different things. You've got some challenges there. So what I did to overcome it is, there is one thing that I can control. So kind of looked internally and said, what things can I control? And that's my work ethic. Was one of the only people that worked on Saturdays, Sundays back at the time. There wasn't, Quicken at the time they were just starting to do things online, but mortgage interest rates were published in a newspaper and people would call on them. So I knew that I could outwork anybody. And then I also went through and said, okay, if I am going to do this, let's study it. And had some Fannie Mae owners or Fannie Mae guides, selling guides and stuff like that around the office. Would review those. And then I just did best practices. I talked to a lot of people, was pretty humble, and just asked for advice from all of the best people inside of our company at the time, and tried to acquire knowledge. Yeah. So that was what I did. I tried to become the best version of myself that I could.
Awesome. So, what would you say? So, you asked a bunch of people for advice. Let's say that a loan officer just starting out comes to you for advice or for tips. What would you give them? What type tips or advice would you give them?
I would probably try and find out first where they're struggling. But right now, I mean, I can show you, hundreds of different messages I've gotten from people recently, just what's going on in the market. What do you think's going to happen? They're looking to me for some certainty. So some tips that I would give is, put some more faith in yourself. The answers are out there. I always tell people, hey, Dorothy, the answer is there. You can Google. There's so many tools and resources today.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to go out and try and figure it out on your own, because when you do figure it out on your own, you get so much more out of it than just asking somebody else for help. So go out, read the manuals, put in the hard work, the work that other people are not willing to do. If you want something different than what they have, you've got to put in the work. So I would always encourage somebody, try and find the answer yourself first. Waste an hour of your time before you waste 10 minutes of somebody else's. And in 3 years, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, where you will be at that time is so much further ahead than the guy that was just spoon fed everything. So embrace the
Absolutely.
challenge.
Wow, I really like that. So, in recent years, since you've been in the industry as well, technology has really made its way and impact into the space. It's revolutionized it. So, how would you say this has affected you and your business?
I think that technology is a tool that we use. I don't think that it's really impacted my business much at all. It's just different. So it's a new normal. Every time there's some new technology that comes out, you're just getting used to a new normal. It's no easier or harder to close a loan today than it was 20 years ago. We do it by a different means. We do different things. You used to do an FHA streamline on a one-page piece of paper. You filled it out and you turned it in and you did a streamline. So to tell me that technology is easier today, I would tell you that it's probably not.
Hmm.
But so technology is there. It's something that you have to embrace. It's always changing. Try and stay out in front of it. Try and understand it. Don't become so archaic that you just, oh, I don't need that, because even a 70-year-old person today needs to understand how Facebook works, Instagram, those kind of things, if you want to be relevant. But technology, it's just, you've got to embrace it. You've got to go with it and try as best you can to understand it and utilize those things.
Definitely adapting to it is the smart move. Are there any strategies, any modern strategies that you're using now or taking advantage of in your business, maybe to gather leads or maintain better relationships, organize your business in a way?
Oh, I mean, there's 100 things I don't even I probably can't even tell you all of them that you're doing. I mean, there's different search engine keyword stuff you can do. You can advertise on, you can advertise Instagram, YouTube. You can create your own content. We've got a variety of different landing pages where we're sending people, or people are going to different landing pages inside of Facebook and trying to add value. And in return, it's a whole value proposition today. Is where can you deploy and add value? And by adding value in return, hopefully somebody comes back and they seek your advice, and then you can give them advice. So, so many places. Just recently, right? I'm an old guy. I'm almost 50, and recently just figured out how Instagram TV works. Right? I can combine videos, and I can do things that it just blew me away. My kids are embarrassed by it, but by the same token, there's so many tools out there. You've just got to embrace them.
Absolutely. Everything's changing so fast in technology that it's crucial to adapt. So what software or softwares are you using for those landing pages that you said?
Primarily just using Facebook and just creating individual landing pages. We've got, we use WordPress for our website, and you can make some different landing pages and things inside of there. So that's really it. I mean, not super high tech. I have a brother that does marketing stuff. He helps me out. But it's just going out and creating a new landing page inside of Facebook and then deploying those against areas.
Cool. So is there anything that you're doing to organize or systemize?
I wish that I could say there is. There's not. It's very, like I said, we just started our company a couple months ago. So a lot of these things are very ad hoc. We're out there testing and trying lots of things, not married to any one thing. I'd say the only thing that we're probably married to as a company right now, right? We need to deliver a certain number of leads. So using, the lead aggregators for that. But short of that, the plan is to eventually grow more of our own organic business and our own traffic, and being able to move away from, the lending trees of the world and those kind of companies.
So where would you say you see all of this going in the future as far as technology in the mortgage space, how it impacts it?
Well, I think that every day technology moves a little bit further. I think that we will see more and more artificial intelligence type stuff take over, where applications, more things will happen via a rocket loan type system. More and more people will become comfortable using that. And so I think that that's definitely going to have a place out there that, we can't run away from it. I don't know what percentage of loans will be done there, but they're still going to need that human interaction. So technology is a tool to help the human do more. Maybe more so. I think a lot of people are afraid of it, but I see more and more people using those technologies to begin the process and even maybe finishing through the process.
Definitely. There's always going to be that human touch and human element to it. So let's go to the buyer side now. So let's talk about your clients. What would you say is the biggest misconception or fear that clients have before working with you guys in regards to getting a loan?
I don't know that people really have a fear. I think that just the world that we live in, and kind of here in our country, it's based on fear mongering, right? So everybody's fearful that they're not getting a good deal, or fearful that the banking industry is taking care of them. So it's mostly trying to overcome a barrier of fear, I think, is what most of clients and just anybody you speak with, they just want to know that they're getting a good deal. And I think that there's just not a lot of trust out there in the industry as a whole. So people think that the banking industry is kind of filled with bad people.
Yeah. So what do you guys do to maybe combat that? Do you educate them throughout the whole process?
I think that we hold their hand from the hello all the way through the end. We try to have a single point of contact. If somebody's dealing with me, they're dealing with me all the way through. They're getting updates daily, letting them know exactly what happens at each step of the process. We have our CRM set up as such to where there's frequent communication happening with the client. So even as there's a conditional approval, we share one CRM that everybody uses to make their calls. So the processor's calling it within 24 hours. We try to over communicate, and I've never been accused, or nobody's ever been upset with their mortgage person saying, oh, they communicated with me too much. So it just doesn't happen. So we're really trying to bring a personal touch there.
Definitely. So what CRM do you guys use?
We're using Accelerate.
Okay. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's I don't know. You can Google it, right? Accelerate. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say I'd give it about 4.5 stars. I have never used a 5-star system, but I'd give it about 4.5 stars. Does a lot of things different than just something to make outbound phone calls.
So, what would you say now is the number one most asked question you receive from first time buyers?
Uh, First time buyers, their biggest question is just around how much money do they need to close. They don't really understand the whole escrows, homeowners insurance. There's a lot of moving parts. A lot of first time home buyers think if I need to put 3.5% down on a $100,000 house, I need $3,500. So just educating them on what the overall fee structure looks like, how the whole loan works, I think is where most of their concerns are and most of their questions are.
Yep, and that goes back to educating them throughout the whole process, holding their hand, over communicating with them.
Yeah, if you take care of somebody and they feel comfortable, I preach and I advocate when I'm on the phone with somebody for the first time. If I spend 1 hour on the phone, I want to take care of every possible question they have the first time that I speak with them. Just sets you up for really build some strong pillars there to have a good relationship all the way through, and then over communicate with all parties involved. So over communicate with the client, answer all their questions, reach out to both agents, and just ask, hey, is there anything special I need to do on this to make sure that the transaction goes smoothly? At the end of this, I want to be able to earn a 5-star review. Is there anything extra that I need to do to make you comfortable or make you willing to give me one? So you kind of establish up front what the game rules are or what kind of the playing field is, and then you manage to that expectation. So I think it's critically important to establish what the rules look like for the game up front and get everybody's buy-in to what the plan is and then move forward and execute on that plan.
Definitely being honest and upfront definitely will make the transaction smoother, the whole process smoother. So are there anything you guys are doing to maintain relationships with your past clients?
We're right now just kind of in the downtime, right? Everybody's working from home. We've backed off our lead buys a little bit. There's too much uncertainty out there to go and spend a bunch of money buying leads. So we backed that down a little bit, have people making personal phone calls out to their close clients, people that they've done business with, people that they're looking to do business with, just doing a check-in. People can tell when you genuinely care about them. So there's a quote, and I can't get it exactly right, but people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, right, just making those touches, just being out there, being present, being transparent, being honest with people. I think this goes a long way in a market like this, creates some certainty in a very uncertain world.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Well, John, I really want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I had a great time talking with you. I really appreciate your time today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And if anybody has questions, you can hit me up on Facebook. I also have a landing page or a page called Ask the Loan Guy on Facebook, and do some little videos and different things. If anybody wants to reach out there, please do. Would love to hear from you. Happy to answer questions. And like somebody helped me out to become where I'm at, and I feel that I owe it, to other people to help them out as well.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the viewers for watching, and we will see you again next episode.